pressing record. There we are. Yeah. So is everyone else in bed there, Sean? Wife and child?
Well, Kiana's in bed, and Ange, I just walked by Ange, and she was cleaning the shower for some unknown reason. I don't know why you would be doing that. Normally she's asleep. Normally she's asleep by this time. I don't know what's going on.
Fancy that, someone being busy cleaning the shower at 10:30 in the evening. My God, what do you think about that? Anything? R A N D O M. Random. I love that. That's a kind of a saying that I don't know, people use and say, oh, that's random. Very
Definitely
good.
is very random, Chris. Completely agree. I just raised an eyebrow and continued walking down the hall.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, before you get too tired, Chris, let's begin, shall we? We'll crack on. Yeah? So I think Sean has prepared something to talk about today. I wonder what it's going to be.
Yeah, there's a gentleman who does these really cool visual graphics, and this one is a visual graphic of the world as 100 people.
Graphic? Oh, I haven't been able to print it out, Sean. I should have been.
Oh, that's okay.
Graphic of we'll print it out afterwards. The world as 100 people. Just for practice, the world as 100, let's see how good, P, E, and straight to it, don't waste energy, O, P, L, very nicely done. The world as 100 people, very good. Okay.
So we'll start with something very simple. If the world was 100 people, 50 of those people would be male and 50 would be female.
50 male and 50 female. Do you agree with that? Why? Well, E and yes, okay. Chris agrees that would be good.
And if the world was 100 people, 48 of those people would be living in poverty. And that is defined as living on less than $2 US per day.
Less than $2 per day. So if the world was 100 people, 48 of those would be, again, we're just getting warmed up, living in P, oh, that was a T, O, that's better, V, E, R, T, and after the T would be straight to it, down. 48 out of the 100 would be living in poverty.
Now, I was curious. So if we've got 48 living in poverty on less than $2 a day, I was curious, what's the median income in the UK? And so the median income, half make more, half make less in the UK, is £585 a week or £83 a day.
So 585 per week, £83 per day. And that's the median income. You know what we'll do, just for a little bit of practice, we're just going to write See how good your handwriting is there. We're going to try and do an 8 and a 3 for 83. Let's just try the 8. Remember, it goes round like that. Just have a go. Round like an S. That's right, I'm doing it. Oh, very nice. I like that. And then the 3 is just round, round like that. You try. Oh, very good try. It's very faint. I don't think you'll be able to see, but that was a really nice try at 83. Very good.
So that's in US dollars, actually close to $110 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So the median in the UK is quite a bit more than that poverty line that those 48 people, if the world was 100 people, that those 48 people are experiencing. You know, I was thinking it would be so cool, like if there was some type of app where people who live in the Western world like us could just send $1 or $2 toward an individual who lived in, you know, this part of the world where there was all this poverty and they were living on less than $2 a day. You know, like imagine if there was an app where somebody's face could pop up and I could see their name and their face and their family, and I could just pop, just like I was getting a cup of coffee and I was paying with my phone. Instead of that, I could just like click a button and it would send them $1. It'd be like change their whole day. And for me, it would be so easy to do. For so many of us, it would be relatively easy to do.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I T I this it is going A G O O D, a good. You're doing great. I. Next letter would be I D. Then the next letter E and it is a good idea. It is a good idea. But I wonder if those people who are living in extreme poverty would even have access to the phone or to money that was kind of wired through to them.
Well, that's quite fascinating because actually in Africa, phone payments is one of the common ways that people use the monetary system. They have credits on their phone and use their phone. And these days, one of, you know, let's say going back to our chart of the world is 100 people,
Yeah.
75 of those people have phones, 25 do not have phones.
75 phones. So
These are cell phones or mobile phones.
Yeah. So there's only 25 that don't have phones. In terms of a in terms of a percentage, what would that be? We've just told you 25%. If you were to change 25% into words, how would you describe it? Not C, Q you just touched. Sorry, Chris, I'm a bit all over the place here, aren't I? Q, you're right. Okay, not a V, one over from the V. U, that's it. Yeah, I knew you knew what it was. So you've done Q, touch the U again. U, A, we're just practicing. R, T, E, and oh, yeah, 25% would be a quarter. A quarter of people in the world don't have phones, but 3/4 do.
Yeah, and you know, it's hard to overstate how dramatically the world and humans are sort of changing as far as their experience of life goes. So obviously, you know, 75 out of the 100 people in the world having a phone a mobile phone and being able to now use payments on that, even in places of a lot of poverty like Africa, and being able obviously to call people all over the world and do that for free with things like WhatsApp and Skype. It's just so dramatically different. And one of the things that's changed a lot too is literacy. So if we were to look at this chart of the world as 100 people, you would have 83 of those people who were literate and 17 who were illiterate and not able to read and write.
17, so 83 literate, 17 illiterate, not able to read or write. I have to say, that surprises me. I thought that the number who would be illiterate would be higher.
Well, get this, Sue.
Yeah.
In 1820, Sue, so just 200 years ago, only 12% of people were literate. 88% didn't know how to read and write.
Good God, 88. So things have really moved on, haven't they? Right. So the changes that we've seen over the last, well, since 1812, how would you describe them? How would you describe those changes? D, R, yeah, A, M, yeah, drum, go on, keep it going, you can use that hand, A, oh, not the S, one over, you just one off, drama, touch the T, it must be T, touch T, you're stuck on that S, hang on, let's help. Oh, it's okay. Look, I'll put some tape on it. So go from the A, you've done dra, mat, touch the A again. Touch the A, and then straight to the T. There it is, look. T, dra, mat, and we'll do IC. Dramat, I, and C. Yeah, the changes that have taken place in the world are dramatic. Would you like to have a go? I don't know, we'll just see how easy it is for you, Cher. Sorry, pointing was a bit challenging then, but we'll just try. Would you give me something else that is dramatic? Oh, you're being dramatic now. Leave that note. I do not like my hand. Use that hand to put the note on the table. Good. Down you come. So, anything that comes to mind as far as you're concerned when you hear the word dramatic? Give it a try. I, T, H, I, N. I think O. I think. Okay, O. After the O would be, I think of, T, H, U, N. Oh yes, yeah, I think it's dramatic too. T, H, U, N, D, E, R. Oh, I think of thunder. I think of thunder. Thunder is very dramatic, particularly if it's right. Yes, for thunder. Well done. Particularly if it's overhead, isn't it? And if you get lightning at the same time. Very dramatic, yes. Okay. Carry on, Sean.
And so when it comes to literacy, in the UK, we've got 99% literacy. You know, so compared to that sort of that global 100 people, there was 83 of them literate. Well, if it was the UK 100, 99 would be literate.
Gosh.
Additionally, so since 1960, globally, there's been a 4% increase in literacy every 5 years. So that's gone from 42% literate in 1960 all the way up into the 80s in 2015.
Sorry, Sean, I didn't get all of that. So since 1960, a 4% increase in literacy.
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
In 1960, it was 42% literacy, or 42 of the 100 people were literate.
Yeah.
When we think about the history of humanity, it's incredible how just in this little segment of history that, you know, that we've lived through almost, your mom and I, there's just been such a dramatic change in this area.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know, my grandparents, Chris, who lived in Ireland, they had a phone, and they were the only one in their street who had a phone. And when I was a kid, and over there visiting, neighbors would walk in all the time, knock on the front door to use the phone.
Oh, could you imagine that? What do you think? Press it down. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. I think you can. Do you like a little drink of water? Have a little sip. A little sip of water. There. Good. Do you imagine people knocking on our door saying, "Can I use your phone, please?" I always remember when I started driving many years ago and thinking, oh God, you know, if I ever break down anywhere, what will I do? Well, I'll just have to go and knock on someone's door and say, could I use your phone, please? Because I've broken down and I need to phone, you know, someone to come and help. There was no other option. You just had to do that.
Incredible.
I'm not even sure. I'm trying to remember now whether we had a phone when I was very small. I can remember the phone being there, but I can't remember whether it was always there. It was a big black one with a round dial on it. And the funny thing was, whenever you answered the phone, you always gave your phone number. That was the rule.
Isn't that funny?
You picked up your phone and you always said, oh my God, I still know my phone number.
Wow.
It was 226-4404.
That's incredible.
That's my old phone number from when I lived back in Liverpool when I was growing up, because it was just ingrained into you. Because you use these dials to dial numbers, lots of times maybe you sort of slipped or your finger slips. There was lots of wrong numbers. So it was really important that you gave the number out when people rang.
It's incredible. And we didn't used to do that. We just said hello, but I can still remember my phone number from when I was a child, which was 391-4752. And, you know, it's because it was so, we used it so repetitively, you know?
Yeah, and you had to tell people your phone number and stuff.
Yeah.
More often than not, I mean, I do know my mobile phone number, but lots of people don't even know their mobile phone numbers.
No.
They have to look them up. If someone says, what's your phone number? And they say, oh, I'll send it to you from the phone.
No. I know my phone number, but I don't know Angie's phone number.
No, I don't know.
I rely on my own phone. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, me too. Me too. What do you think about this? Anything to say? you got anything you'd like to say? Come on, come down. Just a little bit easier if you sit down, Chris, because you're a bit more stable and your pointing is a bit more accurate. Have you got anything to say about this? Y, O, U. That's good. That was an impulse. Okay. So you did the Y-O-U, and that was a very strong, straight up, wasn't it? So I'm going to try and keep my hand here and try and stop it from getting right the way up to your mouth. And you work with me and try and stop it as well. Okay, so you, would you like to use the pencil? See if that makes it a bit faster. U, T, W, O, you two, A, R. Okay, and wouldn't make sense. Touch the R again. R. You two are. R. Okay, don't get stuck. Let's just give you a little break. You, this is good. Just do a couple of words at a time. You two are. Right, see if I can get in a good position for you. And you did an R, yeah, you wanted that. Where? E, M, I, Remin. Yeah, we are. Remin. Okay, you just froze a bit. I'll just break the word up. So you've done run in. I. Go on. S. We are, yeah. Reminisce. Let's do ing. I-N-G. I-N and G. You two are reminiscing. We are. The good old days.
So we've heard, Chris, about how in the UK, in some ways it's quite different than the rest of the world. So if the world is 100 people, 48 of them are in poverty, whereas in the UK we heard about people, you know, earning 585 pounds a week, which is much more than so many people in the world. We've heard about in the UK the literacy rate being 99%, whereas globally it's only 83%. With internet, only 30 of the 100 people in this global village would have the internet, only 30%, whereas in the UK, 93% have internet. So there's all these ways that the UK is quite sort of further ahead, one might say, than the world as a whole. But if you live in that day to day, like we do, you know, you do in the UK and I do here in New Zealand, you don't always kind of recognize that because you're not kind of seeing all these places where they don't have internet, where there is more poverty, for example. So it's kind of cool to look at something like this and expand one's awareness.
I-H-A-B. I have. B, E. Go on. B, E. Just tell yourself next alpha. E, N. I have been. S, E, E. I, N, G, be careful not to swipe. I have been seeing, come on, LOTS, lots, O of NEWS, lots of news. I have been seeing lots of news. Good. ITEMS, lots of news items. I have been seeing, that's very good, lots of news items. A, B, N or O? I think it's going to be O. Move over one then if you want the O. O, U, about, C, H, I, L, D, about, child, CHAILD, R, E, children, G, O, I, N, G, going, H, U, N, G, R, Y, I, N, T, H, E, U. Okay, I have been seeing lots of news items about children going hungry in the UK. Yeah, I wonder if Sean will have been aware of this or seen it. Basically, if you're on a low income, then you qualify in the UK for free school meals. And there's been quite a big campaign, particularly, when the schools were closed with the pandemic. Basically, people could not afford to buy food to feed their children. So one of the famous footballers started a campaign to provide basically school meals for children, even during school holidays or when schools were closed. And there's been a lot of publicity about this. And the government has now just voted against providing meals during the school holidays. So there's a bit of an outcry, and lots of people privately are providing meals, restaurants and things are advertising and enabling people to get free meals for their children. It's a disgrace, really. The campaign is No Child Should Go Hungry, and in what we're supposed to be a developed society. This is happening now, and it makes me wonder, Sean, whether due to COVID-19 the situation has worsened in terms of poverty. I don't know, what do you think?
One, that's really cool to hear that there's all that support for finding a way to make sure that the children are well fed. And Yeah, I was just listening to an economist talking about coronavirus and how it's affecting people economically, and it seems almost like there's going to be a delayed effect, certainly in countries that have had more initial income support, etc., like in the UK. But a lot of those programs are coming to an end as far as the funding goes.
Yeah.
And it's a big question what's going to happen to people.
Yeah, I mean, my view, Chris, and you might have overheard me and your dad talking about this. If anything, people like us, the sort of the middle classes, are actually better off as a result of the pandemic, because there's less travel costs and less going shopping. I mean, yes, you can do it online, but generally we're spending less money than we were, and yet our income is exactly the same. But for the people who are already on low incomes, and people who are on the minimum wage, yes, the furlough scheme gave them something like 80% of their income. Now it's been reduced to like 75%. So they were already on what was supposedly a minimum wage. And now they're being asked to live on 3/4 of that minimum wage.
Yeah.
So actually, this could be, even widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And I'm fully anticipating that when we finally get through this, there will be an expectation for taxes and things to be quite dramatically increased. And I haven't got a problem with it personally. I don't object to paying more tax if that's what we need to do. Have you any views on that, Chris? I T H I N. I think W we A A L is that another L? We all think it is, but we'll just carry on from there. I think we. No, I think it was ALL. Just carry on and we'll work it out. I think we all were D O do. We all do so well. I can see you're getting tired, but you're doing so well. Go on. We all do. N E E D. We all do need. T. After the T would be. Come on. Come on. Hovering over the O. Push. 2. I think we all do need to. With the pencil, might be a bit faster for you. Less effort. We all do need to. W O R K to work. We all do need to work. Just going to give you a little bit of water energy. Come on. I think we all do need to work. T O G E T H E You're there. Oh, we all do need to work together. T after the T. G or H. No. We all do need to work together. And do the T. Go on. Come on. You do. This is really interesting. We all do need to work together. Go from the T again. T. T O. Okay. 2. H. Come on. After the H. E. Good. To H. E. Give you more feedback. L and oh, is that P? P to help. We all do need to work together to help. I'm just going to assume that it's to help each other and have a little break while we chat. You're absolutely right, you know, I do think that is one of the good things that has come from the pandemic. There have been more people stepping up and taking the initiative and setting up little schemes. And, you know, I saw on Facebook just yesterday, Chris, there's someone locally who set up a business during the pandemic. And her little business was providing afternoon teas, so a delivery. So that if it was someone's birthday, for example, and you wanted to, do something nice for them, you could have a nice afternoon tea delivered, which had some freshly made little cakes and sandwiches, all packaged nicely. So she got a little business doing that. But then on Facebook yesterday, I saw that she was advertising and providing free school packed lunches. Anyone that needs one, contact me. And then later on in the day, she posted again and she said, I'm so sorry, but I'm absolutely overwhelmed. And I need to ask for help because I've had such a demand.
Oh my goodness.
And she said, I can provide a lunch for, and she put a picture of, a packet of crisps and sandwiches and drink and stuff. Yeah. I can provide this for £1 a day. If anyone would be willing to help support me, I'll be able to provide more.
Brilliant.
Isn't that great? And loads of people got in touch and some offered as well to go along and help make the sandwiches and stuff, And then she posted, the same person posted again. I got a bit obsessed. The same person posted again later and said, well, I've decided to do a little bit more, and she'd put together packages which were like not just a lunch sandwich, but and enough to, provide for meals for a week, so she was basically putting together little food bags, of the basics.
There's so many good people out there, and it's sometimes we don't notice that because the things that get the headlines are usually the really negative things,
I can tell Chris is getting a bit tired, so we'll change position and we'll see how we get on, yeah?
So I don't know if you guys have heard of universal basic income, but it's this idea that everybody, no matter what your income, basically everybody in the entire country gets a a monthly payment of some basic amount. And in the US, they were saying, for example, there's a guy who ran for president who didn't make it through to the finals, but he became somewhat popular. And he was espousing this idea of universal basic income, where every American would get $1,000 a month. And there was, some people who were really behind it, and especially the idea, he's a tech guy, and he was saying, as technology takes over more and more jobs, there's going to be larger and larger segment of society who's just left behind as a result of that. When UBI, or universal basic income, could help alleviate this, because now everyone's got this universal basic income, and they can try to start small businesses, they can try to do something creative with it, or they can just kind of cover their basics with it. And the big kind of knock on it was like, well, how can a country afford it? But actually, with what's happened with COVID, it is for the first time made that idea seem much more palatable, because everybody in the US was sent a check for $1,200 at the start of the pandemic. And with the huge stimulus package, people who were unemployed were getting $600 a week from the federal government, which was unprecedented in the US. So now there's more of an openness to like, well, wait a minute, maybe there is a place for this in some way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, in the UK, there's something called universal credit, but all that's designed to do is to really provide people who are on low incomes with a top up to enable them to live. It's not designed to enable you to have any more than is necessary for the bare living requirements. In some ways, it does make a lot of sense, because giving people a bit extra can, like you say, it can give them the start to enable them to maybe think about setting up their own business or whatever. Or at the very worst, the very least it does is it puts more money into the economy.
Yeah.
So
it really does.
It provides more work for others. If people are spending more, then there's got to be more people producing the goods that they're buying. So it stimulates the economy
in a big way. And hey, while we're talking about numbers, and the world is 100 people, one of the things we're talking about food too, was according to this, 63 of the people in the world are adequately nourished, and their body weight index is at a healthy level. 21 of the people in the worldwide village of 100 people are overweight, and 15 are undernourished and underweight, and 1 is starving. And since we're also looking at the UK, in the UK, the number out of 100 that would be overweight would be, just doing the maths, 63%. 28% in the UK are obese with a body mass index of 130 or above, and 35 are overweight. So adding those up together, we get up to, it looks like 63%.
Yeah.
So that's an area where you don't want to, it's not like the internet or the phone or the money where you want to have more and you think it's good for society. This is an example where you think having more is really not so great for society, Also, as far as like the history of humanity, it's pretty unprecedented just over the last, especially perhaps over the last 50 to 100 years, where we have this global epidemic of obesity. I mean, even 21% of the people worldwide being obese. That's a pretty big number. And obviously in the UK, it being above 60%, that's huge.
Yeah. Anything to say on that? Anything that you'd like to say? T O M A N Y. Okay, we'll take it that you meant TOO. Too many. Too many. Come on then. Try sitting forward a little bit and then you can use gravity there. Too many. Well, too many. Y. Lift your elbow. Y. N would make sense. Is it the O? Too many Y. O would make sense. Yeah. Go on. Use the pencil. Try this way. Too many. Sit up. Just try a different position for a minute. Too many. Y and O and U and keep it going. Y and O and U. Keep it going. N and oh yes, G. Too many young. Okay. Too many young. Well, you may be going to say too many young people are obese. Yes or no? Yes, okay. Yeah. Too many young, I'm just helping you here. Young people are obese. I think that's a big problem, isn't it? It's quite shocking when you see young people and you see them sort of from when they're little dots, and then all of a sudden they just seem to grow.
Yeah.
And it's very, very easy to happen, isn't it? It's,
You know, I was talking to somebody who was a relief teacher in a number of different schools in the area, and she was saying that in one of the schools she was at, there was a whole number of kids who in their lunch bag was just a giant bag of crisps, nothing else.
yeah.
Like no sandwich, no fruit, just
Yeah.
a big thing of crisps is what their
Yeah.
parents had put in there, or a big chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And
Shocking.
that kind of
the other thing though, Sean, which is quite interesting really, but and Dawn won't mind me talking about this. So Dawn's little girl, Isabella, when we saw her, how long ago? When we saw her a couple of months ago, or a few months ago now, I was shocked because she was fat.
yeah.
She wasn't she, Chris? She was like really dramatically fat. And Dawn I'd seen a couple of photos, and sometimes you think, oh, the photos might be a bit distorted or whatever. But we went for a walk, didn't we? And she was like, you know, she was waddling along. You could see she was massively overweight. And I thought, oh gosh, I've got, you know, I really thought I've got to say something to Dawn about it, because as a friend, it would be wrong not to, you know. People are all polite, and if you don't say anything, you're never going to get anywhere. But the thing is with Dawn is that I know that she was eating healthily. So even when we were out, she had little tubs of fruit and stuff for her, you know. And I thought, oh gosh, I'll have to figure out. Anyway, you know, I bit the bullet, and I phoned her up the next day and said, Dawn, I need to talk to you as a friend. You know, I'd hate you to end up going on your next sort of health check visit with a health visitor, and for them to be pulling you up and thinking that you're, you know, doing things wrong by Isabella, you know. I mean, and Dawn had said, oh, she is fat, But everyone else was saying to her, oh no, it's just puppy fat, she'll be fine.
Right.
But I felt, no, you've got to do something. So we had a chat. Dawn was absolutely fine. And she said, you're absolutely right. She says, Neil's been saying this to me, I'm feeding her too much.
Yeah.
And I said, well, give me an example. So for breakfast, she was having 2 sachets of porridge and an apple. And I'm like, well, I only have 1 sachet of porridge and I'm an adult. Why are you having 2? And she was doing it because I think if she ate everything that she was given, Dawn was assuming she must be hungry still.
Right. Yes.
And was giving her more food all the time. And snacks, always had snacks. The snacks were healthy snacks in that they were fruit, but loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
You know, so it's quite interesting. You have a perception obese equals chocolate bars, crisps, unhealthy foods.
Definitely.
This is someone who was really trying to provide healthy foods.
That's incredible.
Well, just the quantities were totally wrong.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
So poor Isabella is now on a strict regime of, you know, and to be fair, Dawn, she's recognised it, and she said, well, yeah, I'm not offering the snacks all the time, and she doesn't need them. And if she's kept busy, she doesn't need the snacks. And making her walk more, and you know.
Right. That's great. That's great that she's on it at such a young age. And there's I mean, even with the sachets of porridge, I'd be curious about what's in her sachets versus what's in yours, like, because you can get the ones that are more sweet and tasty.
Right, yeah.
And you're more likely to have 2. And then if you get one that is not as tasty because it doesn't have as much sugar, you'll probably be like, you know, one's enough.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Well, there was, you know, I think that the food industry as well does have a part to play in this. Your dad and I were talking about it the other day. It was only a few years ago, you know, they were saying, you know, oh yeah, fruit juice. Fruit juice healthy. And do you remember the product? I don't know whether you would have had it over there. It was called Sunny Delight. And
I
it was
do remember that.
Do you remember it? It was just packed with sugar.
Yes.
There was more sugar in it than anything else. It had more sugar than Coke, I think. You know? And there's people thinking that they're being good. Oh, this is one of your 5 a day. Have this orange juice. And it was this orangey drink that was just full of sugar. Absolutely disgraceful.
It's incredible. We had some friends who also, they fed their kids quite healthy food, but they would give their daughter apple juice right before bed every night. It was a habit. She really liked it. She would ask for it. They gave her the apple juice. And then it turned out she had something like 5 cavities. I mean, her whole mouth was rotting out. They had to cut it out completely, you know, and I wouldn't have given apple juice regularly, but I wouldn't have thought that the impact would be that great.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. Yeah. So anyway, okay, let's try and pull things to a little conclusion, Sean. Yeah. So I'm waiting for you two. You're waiting for me
for Chris. Okay, so pulling things into a conclusion, it's oftentimes, for most of us, we get caught up in thinking the world is very much like the world that we see day to day. But what we don't see is just the variety and the differences that exist outside of our bubble. And so I think it is important for us to continue to look beyond our bubble, to expand our awareness, expand our mind, and, you know, expand our even gratitude for what we might have. And so that was kind of the point of this exercise. And this is really just scratching the surface with this. You know, this graph itself has a number of other things, and there's deeper dives that we could do in all sorts of topics. You know, one of the additional ones that we won't get into now, but even just like if there's 100 people in the world, 60 of them would be in Asia. You know, only 5 would be in North America, 11 in Europe. So, you know, 60 in Asia and 15 in Africa. And that is the vast majority of the world's population, you know.
Okay, let's just see if there's any more that you've got to say or you want to add to that sort of conclusion. You know, important for us to look beyond our little bubbles, beyond you know what our environment. T H I S this. I'll write that one down. This. Would you just come forward a bit, and I think it will be easier for you and faster. Go on, use that hand. This. I. This is W. W. H. WH. Y. This is Y. E. D. Go on, keep it going. E. D. This is why E. D. U. E. D. U. Where are we going? C. Yeah. A. T. I. O. And this is why education. You're on a good roll. Keep going. Come on. This is why education. O. Hang on. This is your last sentence. This is why education, and you did an error. I wasn't sure whether that was accidental or not. So go from education. Oh, let go. Just I'll hold it for you. Education. I. You want the I. Is. This is why education is S. Go on. Is S. So. C. Go on. After the C. R. U. C. I. Go on. After the I. Finish the word. C. R. U. Go on. C. I. And A. And L. I'll take that. This is why education is so crucial. Excellent point. And education covering the right topics to expand everyone's mind. Do you want to go another wee? Go on, go and have a quick wee.